Hey everyone, Amanda Maisie here with Country Roads Trust, WVU wrestler Killian Cardinale. Killian, thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate this.
Of course, yeah.
Your path to WVU was a little different. You started at Old Dominion, but then they cut their program and you came here. So talk about when you found out that ODU was cutting their program, and were you in panic mode? I can't imagine what that was like as a student athlete.
Yeah, it was weird because that was right when the pandemic hit. So it was the pandemic. Our national tournament just got canceled, so I was gonna go to that, and then that got canceled. And then like 1 or 2 weeks after that, they kind of called us in a Zoom call, the whole team, and they just let us know like, hey, it was out of the blue for us, but your program's cut, and it was just like shock at first, I guess, and just like, what do you do next? I knew I was wanted to keep wrestling, but then, usually when that happens, you can go take visits places, but I couldn't do that because of COVID, so I had to basically just Zoom call. All the visits I went on were just Zoom visits, so they would take me around the facilities on on my laptop and stuff. So it was weird, but I had known Flynn and Cliff and Port because I had visited the school they were at before, so I knew them a little bit, and it just kind of fit well.
So your decision basically came down to knowing the coaches that were here. So that probably made it a little easier for you.
Yeah, and it wasn't too far from my house. I live about 3 hours away. So, and that definitely helped, like knowing them and just yeah, just knowing them.
Yeah, for sure. I read that your dad wrestled at George Mason. Your mom was a softball player at George Mason. So you've got some good athletic genes. Do your parents give you any advice about being a student athlete? Obviously, it's a lot different in this day and age, but are they able to kind of impart some of their wisdom on you, and do you listen to them at all?
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty receptive. So when they do talk, I listen. And we're pretty close, so whatever they have to say, I'm always up for taking their advice. So
I saw in an interview one time that you were kind of a self-proclaimed wild child. How did wrestling fit into you being a kid, and was it a way to kind of, get out some aggression in a positive manner? Obviously, your dad, had the genes of wrestling. So, did you enjoy this as a kid? Was it something naturally to you?
yeah, when I look back, I think kind of loved it just from the beginning. It's super hard. You had to work hard, but I felt like it was kind of the opposite of my personality outside of the wrestling room. Especially like going into middle school and stuff, I was just a troublemaker, just getting in a lot of trouble. But when I could go in the wrestling room, that's when I could like be serious and focus. So in a lot of ways, it definitely saved me from being in trouble, especially as I got older and stuff. Just because it gave me something to be disciplined with and be focused on.
How instrumental was your father, being a college wrestler, in just teaching you as you were growing up?
It was huge because he just put me around it. Like, I never felt forced, and I think that's something he did a really good job of. I think a lot of times parents will force their kids to go to practice, force their kids to watch film. And for me, I just never felt pressure. I was just, I wanted to do it, and like he would help me. So I just kind of developed a love for it, and I think he just facilitated that.
I don't want to like say it was a bad thing that ODU cut their program, but in hindsight, it worked out pretty well for you. You've had an amazing career here so far, All-American. I don't want to say, are you glad that it happened, but is there a part of you that's glad that it kind of went down the way it did? I know that's a weird question.
Yeah, no, I've thought about it a lot before too, and then I'm definitely just grateful because I mean, like, I couldn't control it, so
Right.
I just.
It is a unique situation because usually when somebody goes to a new school, it's of their own accord. I'm going to make this decision to transfer. You had no other choice.
Yeah, so you kind of gotta make the best of it, and I think that's what I did for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have left, but I'm grateful that it happened the way it happened, and that year I did really well, and it opened up a lot of opportunities for me to kind of choose where I wanted to go.
Yeah, for sure. You wrestle at 125. Talk about the weight process, cutting the weight. Is it hard for you? Easy for you? What's that like?
It's simple. It's definitely not easy, but it just comes down to a lot of discipline. I mean, you hear all the time wrestlers don't eat, and wrestlers, work out a lot to lose weight, and that's all true, but you just have to be, disciplined. That's the biggest thing, I think. But is it the most fun making weight? Probably not. Most growing young men probably want to eat as much as they want, but you got to be disciplined if you have a big goal or something like that. So
you wrote to me a while back that your favorite pregame meal is watermelon, pineapple, honey stinger waffles. Still true to this day? Like, what's your go-to meal?
I'd say that's pretty true. Pineapple for sure. I'll throw in some oatmeal in there, some Gatorade, something like that. Just quick carbs to get you fueled up.
Do you ever go into a match? I know you can eat right before after you make weight, but do you ever go into a match just like super hungry? And if you do you just sort of like suppress it?
You kind of want to be a little hungry. If you if you eat too much, you're going to be slow out there and your belly's going to be all full, especially if you're cutting any kind of weight, like your stomach's shrinking already. So when you putting that food back in, you get full really fast.
Yeah.
So it's very meticulous. Like, you got to be very scientific about it. And like, I've done a lot of trial and error. It's like sometimes you might drink more than you want to, and then, like I said, your belly's full, and then you kind of got to find the right portions for you, I guess. It's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
And depending on if it's like if it's a duel, that'll be a 1 hour weigh-in versus a tournament, it's a 2 hour weigh-in. So
yeah, I find wrestling, and I'm no expert by any means, but I find when I watch it, it's very graceful in a way. I mean, there are moves, there's strategy. Would you say graceful? Like, give me a pass here, but is that somewhat accurate?
I'd say it's part of it.
Yeah.
For sure, there's some grace in there. It's a lot of little things that have to come together, right? Because it's like you could be really, really technical and like you could look really graceful, but if you don't kind of have some fight in you, then that might not, you can't just rely on technique. You gotta be able to go 7 minutes. So I'd say it's kind of like that yin yang almost.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, you make me feel better. I appreciate that. What do you love about wrestling?
What do I love about wrestling? Something that it sucks. Like, a lot of times it's not fun.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like struggle and suffering, but I've noticed that like when I voluntarily struggle and suffer, like I don't struggle and suffer outside of it. So it's like setting some kind of a goal and then keeping yourself disciplined to like go after that. That's probably what I love the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. Away from the mat, you told me you're a longboarder, skateboarder. Still enjoy that?
When I can. Obviously I got to be careful. Just
don't tell Coach Flynn
don't want to get hurt. But maybe once I'm done, I'll bring it back into my life a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, Killian, appreciate it. Now you got a lot of season left. Had
Awesome.
Some big victories this year. Keep it going, and we appreciate your time.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.